Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and I want to teach you how to consciously and purposely choose the life that you want to create. But before I get into that, I have my confidence course. So if you're someone that's wanting to gain more confidence, then it's only $33.33. So I'll leave the link below. And I also have one-on-one spots available, which is really deep accountability work for someone who's ready to completely transform their life and live a more joyful and alignment life that you are meant to live. So with that being said, let's get into it. And I love this subject because ultimately we all have a choice on how we want to live our life, right? We all have a choice. And I think the magic word around this video is choice. Because if you've ever experienced a situation where you feel like you've had no choice, you just feel like I had no choice. I had no choice. What I want you to take a step back and realize that you always have a choice. Always have a choice. And the reason why we always have a choice is because we have the power of perception. And I want to explain that. You may be thinking, what is perception? And that's what I want to explain. We all perceive things to be a certain way. We all perceive things in our own mind. We all have our own perception of how things work. So if you and your best friend were to go out to a festival, you both are going to perceive the festival very different. You're going to have different experiences because you both perceive certain things very differently. So your best friend may think it was the best concert ever because, you know, the singer was amazing, the band was amazing, the crowd was amazing, and then you could experience it very differently because you felt like the band was shit, you felt like it was too overcrowded, and yada yada yada. So you have your own perception. This is what free will is. The ability to be able to choose or to perceive things as an individual. That's what makes us unique. I think it's so awesome. I think it's like freaking amazing, the fact that we can choose. We have our own perception. We are all like uniquely different because we all think so differently. I think that's awesome. So when we understand that at every moment that we experience, and it could be a situation, we have the choice on how we perceive it. So let's take, for example, you have a really yucky situation where someone yelled at you. Someone yelled at you and someone blamed you or something, right? Now you, in the moment, and what you probably usually feel is that you feel like they're attacking you and you feel like you have no choice. Like they had a go at you. They had a go at you and now you feel like shit. They made me feel like shit. They made me feel like shit. They've ruined my day. How dare they? They've ruined my day. I feel like shit. Don't want to do anything for the rest of the day because these people yelled at me and made me feel like shit. Right? That is how you're perceiving that situation. When you become aware that you have a choice on how you react, and this is where it's important to understand that you have a choice in any given moment, in any situation, on how you choose to react and perceive it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have control of that situation, but you have control on how you choose to react. So when you take a step back and perceive and realize how you're perceiving this, and in the moment you could be like, they're yelling at me, I feel like shit, I want to cry, I'm angry, right? I'm angry, I'm upset, they're yelling at me, I didn't do anything wrong, why are they yelling at me? That's how you initially perceive it. But then if you take a step back and you go on, well, hold on, I'm choosing to perceive it this way. I'm choosing for it to let it affect me and to let it get me upset and to then let it affect the rest of my day. Then I'm choosing to perceive it that way. But if you go, okay, they yelled at me and they made me feel upset, but then I'm choosing to not let it affect me, I am going to change my perception on this situation. You could then look at it, you open your awareness and look at the other potential opportunities or other way you could perceive this situation, rather than letting it just be one way and only way of it, you know, getting making you upset, making you angry, and then you're gonna have a shitty rest of the day. If you look at it and go, well, how can I perceive this differently? What if I open my perception? You could be like, well, they yelled at me, but I'm not going to let it affect me. You're automatically changing your perception of that. Or you can then change it again and be like, how is it that they're yelling, how are they yelling at me? Let me say it again. Them yelling at me, how can them yelling at me be something that I need to learn? What is it that they're telling me, that they're projecting onto me, that may be something that I could learn? Because there's always going to be lessons in life that we need to learn. Always, but we just miss them. We miss every lesson because we automatically think that, you know, shit is happening to us, not for us. So then we play the victim and then we go, well, that's shit, whatever. I'm gonna be angry. But when we choose, when we change, when we open our perception to other possibilities, rather than just letting it affect us, and we have the choice on how we want to react, how we want to perceive these situations, we're able to change our reality and we're able to change how we feel. We're able to learn lessons. There's so many valuable things that come from it. So just know that you have a choice in any given moment. Every little thing that you experience, you have a choice. When you open your awareness in that very given moment that you feel like you're in a position where you don't have a choice or something's happening to you, I want you to take a step back and go, how can I perceive this differently? What is there something for me to learn? If this person that was yelling at you, having a go at you, how is it that what they're projecting onto you, how can you learn from that? How can what they're saying to you be a lesson for you to learn? And there could be many ways. I've told this story before, but I'm going to say it again. So I remember going out clubbing and I wore a white top and it was really tight, and I went to the toilet and it ripped, and I was like, fuck. And this was at the start of the night, and I was like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. So the zip was still on, but it ripped in here, so it was like open and you could see the skin. And I panicked. Like I was like, oh my god, this happened. I was trying so hard to pull the zip up. I was like yanking it, and I was like, you know, when you're like fretting and you're in like complete panic mode, and I was like and I was shaking, and I was in the bathroom by myself, and I was like, I don't know what to do, and I started panicking. I was like, I can't, you know, my zip's broken, that's it, I've got to go home, this is it, like worst night of my life. And then I took a step back. Well, before I did that, I called my friend. She tried to do it, she didn't, so she left, and I was like, just give me a moment, I need a moment. So I was like, gave myself a moment, and I'm like, I can choose to let this affect me, because there was no way I was fixing that zip. If anything, if I kept going, I would have made it worse. So I took a moment and I decided to think about the choices that I had and how I could perceive this night. So I looked at how I was reacting, and I was perceiving the whole thing completely wrong. So I was like, how can I change my perception on this particular thing that's happened rather than it being bad and affecting the rest of my night and me potentially going home, how can I perceive it as a lesson to learn and something ultimately that's not going to affect my night, right? I can choose how I want to react to it. And when I looked at it from a point of view of how can I learn from this, the main thing that sparked up for me in that night was, why am I reacting? Why do I care? Because I was like, people care. Because my main concern was people are going to look at the zip and they're going to judge me and they're going to criticize me and they're going to come up to me and be like, your zip's broken. And that was my concern, right? I was like, what's stopping me from just going about my night and having a good night, regardless of the zip? And that was what came up. So I was like, okay, how can I just take a step back, take a breather? And I was like, what is the lesson that I need to learn here? And it was that. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to change my perception and I'm going to have a good night and not give a shit what people think of me and not care that people are going to judge me and not think that they're going to judge me. And I came out with my gals, and I want to enjoy the night with my gals and not have to worry about this zip. So I am changing my perception and I'm choosing not to let this affect me. So the moment I did that, I went out and I had the best night of my life. I forgot that it even existed. Like, I forgot that it was even there. I went home and I was like, okay, cool. I forgot that the zip was broken. And it did not bother me for 1 second in the night. I did not care. I was even had my hands up when I was dancing and it was on display and I just didn't care, and no one came up to me, no one asked me, no one judged me. And that was the main thing, was that no one cared. And that's the reason why, is because I changed my perception. So I did 2 things there. One thing was I learnt the lesson. The lesson came up for me and was like, why do you care? Why do you care that people judge? Like, the main thing around this whole incident was that I cared what people were going to think of me. And so that was a lesson to learn. And so it didn't affect my night. And the second thing was I changed my perception. I chose not to let it affect me. And I had the best night of my life. So my point is, when we open our perception and realize that we have a choice, this is how it's going to change. This is how it's going to change certain circumstances. It's going to change our life. It's going to give us more power, because when we're living in a mindset of things are happening to us, we're playing the victim. We're playing the everything's happening to me, I can't control life, like, oh well, it's so shit, and complain. And I used to be like that so much. I used to think that I had no control over my life. And when you realize that you have a choice in any given moment, because remember, you're creating your life, you're creating your reality, you're manifesting everything into your life. So if you encounter a shitty situation, you can change your perception rather than let it affect you. If someone beeps at you, I know if you're someone that hates people that beep at you, you just get worried, like I used to, and they beep at you, you go, he beeped at me. Okay. Sometimes I wave, I go, hi. They're angry. I don't know why. Maybe I'd cut them off or something. And they beat me and they drive around. Maybe it was too slow to take off the lights. And they're like angry and they're like, and I'm just like, hi. Like, you're changing your perception. You're not letting that affect you. How powerful is that? You've taken your power back. You're not letting outside things affect you. You're not letting outside circumstances get the better of you. Because internally, what you feel and create in your internal experience, or how you believe, is what you manifest, is what your outer experience is going to be like. So when you change your perception, ultimately you're changing your beliefs as well. So remember that you have a choice in any given moment, any second of every life. Whatever happens in your life, you always have a choice. And when you feel like you don't have a choice, when you feel like you literally have no choice, it's like right or die, like that's it, then take a step back and open up your awareness, meaning look at the other options that are available to you. Because when we feel like we have no choice, we're only looking at one perception. We're looking at one solution, one viewpoint. But when you open your perception, you're like, oh, there's other options available. I can choose any one of them. Then that's how you're taking your power back and controlling your reality. This is how you change your life, because you're choosing what you want in your life. You're choosing what's going to be in your experience, and that's powerful. So I hope this video has helped. Let me know what resonated with you below. Comment below, and remember that you have a choice. You have a choice. Every time you experience something, you have a choice. So just remember that. That's really powerful. It's really freaking powerful. You're taking your power back. So thank you so much for being here till the end. And sorry that I've been so expressive. I just freaking love this topic. And I love you guys. And I'll see you next time.